Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers from Monday, the 26th of June to Sunday, the 2nd of July, 2023. And we are just over the midway point of the year, just having celebrated the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere on Wednesday, the 21st of June last week. And that would have been the winter solstice in the Southern Hemisphere. I was very blessed to be at Stonehenge with some friends of mine, watching the sunrise, feeling the energy, receiving the downloads, the new light codes, receiving very, very beautiful pulsating energy as the sun was coming up a little bit higher in the sky. So sunrise was about 4:44 in the morning, and it really started to appear more visibly in the sky by about 6. And I'd say between about 6 and 8 a.m., the sun was getting warmer, it was light, it was bright. I could feel this very pulsing energy that I was receiving directly from the sun into my upper 3 chakras, particularly around the third eye and crown. And just the energy, the potency, the blessing and the gift of being able to be present there at Stonehenge at that time of the sunrise. As you know, if you've been listening and watching regularly, I've been working a lot with the energies of the sunrise in recent weeks. I have quite now a sort of regular routine of waking at sunrise and going outside with my feet on the earth to move my body, to make prayers, mantras, affirmations, to do my journaling. And I'm finding that very, very powerful process to be able to receive those new light frequencies as they arrive in the newly born day on the earth. And you will know as well that I've been talking about the pulsation of the Earth's frequency, which people are measuring and is intensifying at this time. So being there on the land in that ancient star temple of Stonehenge and being barefoot, being with others, there was a lot of song, there was drumming, there was a very, very beautiful, clear, light, open energy. And I really felt the blessing of receiving that summer solstice sunlight. And I want to speak about the energies of the summer solstice again this week. I also want to touch on Cancer season, Mercury moving into Cancer, and Neptune going retrograde in Pisces. So the summer solstice energies I mentioned last week, for me, feels like the full moon energy of the yearly solar cycle. It's the point of the greatest illumination. It's obviously the time of the longest day, the longest daylight that we receive here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the shortest daylight in the Southern Hemisphere. This is not a time for making rash decisions to change direction. This, for me, is a time of illumination, greater inner wisdom, and being able to see with clarity what we have been creating and what is bearing fruit from the seeds that we've planted in the earlier seasons of the year. I've been picking a lot of strawberries so far this summer, both in my own garden in the small community where I live and over at my mum's allotment. One of the beautiful things about the strawberries this year is, one, how delicious they are when you've grown them yourself in your own garden, and two, how abundant they are, that there is so many to go round, that we can afford to share them with others. We can even afford to share them with the birds and the insects. However many the birds might eat, and they don't eat a lot, there's always enough. There's always more than enough. There's always an abundance to be harvested. And part of that energy for me is a reflection on how I'm understanding and working with the energy of abundance, that we give from what we have the most of. We give from what we have in abundance. We give from what we have an excess of, because we can generously share from that place when our cup is already full. If I only harvested 4 strawberries and there were 20 people, well, yes, I can cut the strawberries into small pieces and we can share them. But maybe strawberries is not the gift for me to share this year. Maybe there's another crop that's coming up that's more abundant for me to share. And I guess I'm reflecting on that in terms of one of the key themes that I've been speaking about a lot this year, in terms of that, the way that we as visionary writers and creatives cultivate our own life force energy, and we utilize that for our own creative projects. And I know from my own experience of living with burnout over many years and in many different forms for many different reasons and contexts, that it's when I am trying to give from a place of depletion, it's when I'm trying to give of a resource that is not mine to give, or when I'm trying to give of a resource that is not already in abundance. I'm trying to give because I think, or I believe, that that's what I should be doing. That's what I should be giving. That's when I deplete myself and burn myself out. And that relates so clearly for me to how we cultivate our life force on our visionary writing and creative path. When we're giving of what we already have in abundance, our writing, our creativity, our joy, our passion, our purpose, we can give and still be nourished and still be full ourselves. When we tend to be giving in ways that are depleting, in ways that are not nourishing for us, in service of things that we feel we should be doing, at the expense of cultivating time and energy for our creative visionary writing and practice, creative practice, that's when we empty ourselves. Because it's, in my experience, the cultivation of my practice of writing that nourishes me and gives me that abundance of energy, puts me in flow and puts me into alignment with my own true vision and my own soul's highest calling. When I'm in alignment with that, there's more flow in my life, there's more abundance for me to give from, and there's more capacity for me to share and to hold space. When I'm not aligned with my own practice, that's when I contract and deplete and head towards burnout. So summer solstice is that time of the greatest illumination in the year. It's the peak of illumination in our solar cycle. We get to see very clearly what we have been creating from the seeds that we planted in the earlier seasons. We get to see which seeds are bearing fruit, which didn't harvest this year, which ones are not ready to come up, which ones have grown but have perhaps withered. And we get to see the shape of the year that we're creating. Like with any crop that we're harvesting, we can see it now. We can see it plainly. It's above the surface. We can see what's there. We can begin the harvest. We can celebrate and we can share. What we can't do is decide suddenly that we wanted something different and pull it up and decide to plant new seeds in its place, because those new seeds are not going to grow right now. And if we pull up what we have got, then we end up with nothing. So, however starkly this summer solstice illuminates for you what you've been harvesting and cultivating in your year, in your life, in your practice, it's a time to be present with that, to celebrate what we have got, what we have created, even if it ultimately isn't necessarily exactly what we wanted or expected or intended. It's what we have, and we can celebrate that. We've created that from the seeds that we planted. And what I speak about a lot in these videos is that the seeds that we're planting as visionary writers and creatives, the seeds that we're planting is not only our practice, but our internal narratives, the thoughts, the beliefs, the affirmations, the self-talk that and the self-limitations that we are holding in our bodies, physically, emotionally, energetically. And so we get to see at this time of the year what has been created. What have we created with that mix that we have put into the earth? All of our thoughts, beliefs, visions, intentions, unconscious narratives, self-limitations. We have this whole mix of everything that we are that is the seeds of what we're planting. And we might have some conscious intentions for what we want to be creating with our affirmations and intentions. But underneath that, there will probably also be some unconscious narratives and conditioned beliefs that perhaps are working in opposition to the seeds that we think that we're intentionally planting with our affirmations and our intentions and our visions. So there might always be that balance of, well, these are the seeds that I planted, and this is what's grown. And then when I get to see what's grown, I get to see, yeah, this is where that affirmation and that intention came through really clearly and really aligned. And this one here, well, this is where that affirmation came through with some self-limiting beliefs and with some preconditioned narratives that I can now become more aware of and journal with, highlight, spotlight, give my attention to, bring into my conscious awareness, and set the intention to release that. Especially as I bring that up through my awareness and out onto the page, I can begin to release the vibration that I've been holding of those stories. So we can see from what we've created what have been some of the narratives and visions and beliefs that have gone into this creation. And that might give us an opportunity to see in our journaling where we can still let go of some of those conditioned beliefs and unconscious narratives that are still playing out in our manifestations. That's, for me, the work that we can do here at the summer solstice, to begin to change the alchemy, to change the frequency of what we will then create going forward from here. It's not a time to tear up what we've created because we don't like it and try to plant new seeds again. It's time to be present with that illumination, celebrate what we've got, and be the witness to what are the internal patternings that we can see manifesting in the harvest that is coming to fruition at this time. I hope I'm making sense. This is a very strong time for journaling, as I will move into now. On the summer solstice, the sun moved into the sign of Cancer, so we are now in Cancer season. It's a time of strong emotions. The primary wisdom and information that we will be receiving in this season will be through our feelings, physically, emotionally, intuitively. It's that opportunity and invitation to open up to what we are feeling, because our feelings, particularly in Cancer season, can reveal to us many things. They can reveal to us particularly what we need, what we desire, where we want to go, what we've been holding onto that we're ready to release. So it's a time to listen to our feelings. So often in this world, we have been conditioned to suppress the feelings of our body, our emotions, and our intuition. Cancer season is an invitation and an opportunity to really listen to those feelings, because they're going to be at their loudest at this time. And so this would be a good season to be befriending your journal, and to have that journal with you, and to make a practice every day of journaling with your feelings, of noticing your feelings, witnessing what you're feeling, and then free writing around what those feelings are revealing to you. Very often we can have strong, particularly emotional, but probably this comes through in the physical as well. We can have strong feelings surfacing and arising, coming to our attention when we're not receiving what we need. And so those feelings might be telling us something. Perhaps physical feelings and sensations might be a manifestation of an emotional feeling or sensation of a need that hasn't been met, or an emotion that hasn't been expressed. We might notice greater intuitive feelings coming through to give us the wisdom that we need, to tell us what it is that we need to receive, what it is that we need to express in order to move through and clear some of those more intense, uncomfortable feelings. But we also are invited to be present with those intense and uncomfortable feelings in order to bring them to the surface and allow them to move through. Because the more we try to suppress them, the deeper they go and the more painful they become. So our journal is a great kind of neutral and friendly and supportive space to be present with and be the witness to the feelings that are arising for us on physical, emotional, and intuitive levels, and to deepen our inquiry into what is this feeling telling me? What is this feeling revealing to me? How am I feeling? And what is this feeling revealing to me? What does it want me to know? And then as Mercury also moves into the sign of Cancer on Tuesday, the 27th, we have a 2-week period with Mercury moving fast and direct through the sign of Cancer, in which to communicate our feelings, our needs, our desires, our expressions, our full and authentic, true self-expression. But if we start that process in our journals, it helps us to regulate those feelings and release the emotional pressure from what we may need to communicate clearly to others around what we need, what we feel, what we desire. This is going to be a good period of time and a supportive period of time for doing that. But I will mention as well that on Friday the 30th, Neptune goes retrograde in the sign of Pisces, and that might give us a challenge to discern through our intuition. We may find it more difficult to discern between our reality and our imagination. It may be trickier to get clarity around what our intuition is really wanting to say to us. So we have these, this balance of energies coming through at the moment. On one hand, we have Mercury in the sign of Cancer with the sun, traveling with the sun, giving us that clarity and illumination. What do I feel and what are my feelings revealing to me? We also have this tricky energy of Neptune retrograde in Pisces that is going to perhaps cause a little bit of cloudiness, fogginess, a little bit of a Pisces swirl in the waters around what is real and what is our intuition really telling us. So again, a really important and powerful time to be with our journals and our journaling practice, and also an important time not to be making rash decisions about where to go next or what you want to change. This is a time to be present with what is, what you have been creating, to witness the trajectory of the way that this year is going, the way that the harvest is showing up for you. And then in the autumn, we will have an opportunity to discern and to begin to make changes for the seeds we want to sow in the year to come. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and it's your winter solstice, again, it's not a time to make rash decisions or changes to what you are creating or what you have been creating. You're at the resting point, you're at the deepest resting point between last year's harvest and next year's seed planting. It's not the time yet to try to rush to figure out what next year's seeds will be. It's time to rest and receive the gifts of the harvest and let next year's seeds take shape as the year unfolds through the season of Imbolc. So I think that's all I want to say about the tarot, but the astrology for this week. Sorry, reading my notes. That's all I want to say about the astrology for this week. Last week, I opened up the inquiry about what is the best way that I can be of service. This has been our inquiry through the Gemini new moon into the solstice. What is the best way that I can be of service? And I questioned whether these videos were truly the best way for me to be of service to you and to my own creativity and to my own highest vision and purpose. And I've had time this week to sit with that inquiry and to feel into it and to listen. And I would say, exactly as I've been saying in this video, now is not the time to make radical changes to what I've been doing. Now is the time to celebrate what I've created and to thank all of you for watching and commenting and subscribing and liking and sharing this with your friends, which I know many of you have been doing. I have so much gratitude every time I kind of, see those numbers going up. I'm not creating an identity around it, but it's definitely enjoyable and a reflection of what I've been creating, to see that manifesting as success in terms of people who I know who are enjoying and getting a lot from these videos. So now's the time to celebrate that. It's not a time to change that. I will be evolving this content over time. I will be evolving the content and the format over time. I have ideas already about kind of the steps I want to take and the direction that I want to go in. But now is not the time to make those changes. Those changes will evolve through the seasons. And that, I think, has given me a lot more grounding in terms of a longer term view, that seasonal overview. I don't need to make changes right now. I can be present with what I've created. I can harvest the abundance of what we're creating together and know that this will evolve in time. And it's not about making radical, drastic changes. It's about working season by season, year by year, cycle by cycle, to create and to manifest and to co-create and to evolve and to shift and to change and to tweak and to edit and to all of these things. It's a seasonal cycle. It's a seasonal cyclical process. And it's not about stopping doing it at any point. Not that I have in my vision or my intention at the moment. It's not about that. It's about gently evolving the content over time to become a greater fit and in greater alignment with what I need and with what I hope will serve you more effectively as well. But at this time in during the summer solstice, it is not time to make changes. It is time to celebrate and appreciate and share what we have and what we've co-created. And I'm so grateful to all of you for being here as part of that process. So let's take a card. I want to mention last week's card that we had, Temperance. Really powerful, really, really powerful medicine at this time of the solstice to bring that message into focus and to say directly, it's not the time to take drastic action. It's time to rebalance, and it's time to utilize the elements, utilize all the elements to alchemize what we are creating. That was a powerful ally and invitation last week for me to support me with that inquiry that I was working with. And I hope that you also found your own medicine through that too. Who's this? The Lovers. Okay, so it's another major arcana card. A beautiful image here from the Wild Unknown Pocket Tarot. All right, so we have the Lovers, and the Lovers is a major card. So like I said, this is an energy that's moving through us. It's going to be working with us this week. And the Lovers invites us to, first of all, call our own energy back from where we have misplaced it, where we have given it away, as I was saying at the beginning of this episode, where we have misspent our own energy because we have had the preconditioned belief that giving our own energy away, our creative energy and our life force energy away to something outside of ourselves would be the way to find recognition and the way to receive affirmation and the way to receive love. So the Lovers invites us to come back to ourselves ultimately, to be our own best lover, to be the lover that we would like to not only to be, but to receive, to be our own best reflection. The Lovers invites us to see ourselves with love, to see our own reflection with the loving gaze of the lover, to look at ourselves with that same level of self-acceptance, self-love, self-compassion, self-worth that we perhaps have been seeking from others, individuals, institutions outside of ourselves. How can we keep bringing that back so that we're receiving that from ourselves and we're giving that to ourselves, which always ultimately strengthens us to become more confident and more magnetic in our lives and in our relationships. But we're coming then from a place of anchored in self-love, self-care, self-worth, self-value, self-compassion, self-appreciation. These are all energies that I would associate with the lovers, to bring that energy that we have given away or that we have externalized, our need for love. That's our primary and ultimate need as humans on this earth. How have we given away or externalized our primary need to be loved and projected that onto another person or an institution or something external to ourselves? And how can we then bring that back into our own hearts to give ourselves the love, the compassion, the self-worth, the self-value, the validation, the affirmation that we need, that we have been seeking from outside of ourselves? And this again might be another very powerful inquiry for your journaling at this time, because we've been talking about journaling in terms of what we're feeling, what that reveals about where our needs are not being met, and how then can we bring those needs back into our own hearts so that we are meeting ourselves primarily as our first and most beautiful and beloved lover, and to give ourselves what we need first and foremost, so that we then are nourishing ourselves in ways that fill up our own cup that we can give to others from that full cup, from that place of fullness and self-nourishment, and in ways that we are calling back the energies that we have externalized, projected outwards and given away, to bring that back into our own strength and anchor ourselves into our own self-worth and self-acceptance. So journaling with our needs and our feelings and how we might support ourselves to receive the love that we need will be powerful and very Cancerian inquiries for your journaling this week. So I'm sending you so much love. It's great to be here with you. I really welcome all of your feedback, comments, and connection. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Writing Thriving, or leave a comment below the video. Please share this with your friends and those that you love. And I'm sending you lots of love and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for being with me.